What's up, everybody? Big Cop Diesel coming at you, and today I wanted to do a video about chemical agents, or pepper spray as it's also known. Um, and it's kind of ironic that I'm wearing this shirt. I didn't plan it that way. This is my Goon Squad shirt. As you can see, there's a skull with a gas mask over it. This was a line of shirts I was trying to launch a couple years ago, kind of marketing towards correctional officers, because obviously in corrections we have to gas prisoners on a regular basis. So anyways, I didn't plan that, but it is kind of cool, so I figured I'd mention it. Okay, so let's talk about pepper spray. I'm going to show you just a couple different options that I have here, and then I'm going to talk to you guys about why it's important for you to go through a certification process. All right, and we're going to talk about the pros and the cons of that. There's not really too many cons. All right, so for those of you that don't know, pepper spray is and I use the term chemical agent because it's technically not a chemical. It's a food product. The active ingredient in pepper spray is a molecule known as oleoresin capsicum. And oleoresin capsicum is what gives peppers their heat. So when you bite into a pepper or you get exposed to pepper spray, the oleoresin capsicum is where that heat comes from. And there's different levels of heat. If you are somebody that likes spicy food, when you go to the restaurant, they ask you, do you want, a little bit of spice, medium, or hot? And that just determines how much they add to it. Well, same thing. So when it comes to pepper spray, there is different degrees of heat. So just for your information on that. All right, so the first thing I want to talk about is the fact that pepper spray, active ingredient is found in peppers. So when you are inevitably sued for using it, what you can use to answer that when you're on the stand and you're getting grilled by Jeffrey Feiger or Mike Morse or whoever, because whoever you're going to spray with your pepper spray is going to claim that they're maimed for life and they can never work again and they're blind and all this other stuff, is you can say, listen, man, I sprayed you with a food product, so I don't know what to tell you. It'd also be nice for you sitting on the stand to be able to say, hey, man, I've been sprayed with it before and I'm fine. But we'll circle back to that. So let's talk about a couple different options. So the first one I want to talk about is this pepper spray pen. As you can see, it looks like a Sharpie, but this is pepper spray. So it's got a nozzle on it, much like you'd see on any kind of, perfume, cologne, whatever. Same concept. This one is really good for executive protection. You're wearing a suit, you can drop this in a breast pocket, or maybe you're not in a suit but you're still dressed down and you don't want to carry a bulky canister around. This can slide into the ink or to the ink pen slot of a duffel bag, a shoulder bag, or in some clothing. So discreet, really non-assuming, but good thing to have with you. Of course, you'd have to kind of have it set up so you can get to it and deploy it quickly. Now, when I looked online to see some training videos on this, they demonstrated popping it off, having the nozzle pointed that way, popping it off with your thumb, and just being able to do it one-handed. I did that a couple times, and one of the times the nozzle actually came off, so that's no bueno. So just use two hands, take the cap off, deploy it. I can't imagine you can toss it if you need to. This was $10, so an option for you there. Next up is another pepper spray. This is a smaller container here. It's got a keychain ring on the bottom. It's got finger grooves that are on the front of the canister, if you will. So in the dark, you can figure out which way is facing forward so that you can deploy it. It's got a flip top safety. So you just flip that up and then depress the trigger to send the pepper spray in bad guy's face. And then you have what I call a duty canister here. This is the size that most police officers and corrections officers will carry on their belt. Same concept. You have a safety, which is just this flip top. You lift that up, and then you can depress the trigger to deploy the pepper spray. And then I have a trainer here, but I'm only showing this because of the size difference. So you can get an active pepper spray canister in this size if you feel like you're going to be maybe in a crowd, in an area where you have a crowd of people. You may need more to disperse a crowd. But you can tell this is a trainer. Why? Because the regular canisters are black with red labels for the most part, except this has a plastic kind of handle that the actual chemical agent is sitting inside. But this is white and blue, so there's no mixing it up. Okay. Now, why is it important for you to get certified? So when you go through the class, you're going to learn about the active ingredients, which I just highlighted earlier. You're going to learn about the effects that they have. You're going to learn who you can and who you cannot use this on. Obviously, guys, you cannot spray pregnant women with this. You can't spray kids. You can't spray elderly people. And anybody that has any kind of apparent medical issue. So if you got somebody, let's just say you got some guy that's, acting out and he's got oxygen tube, you know what I mean? I'm being facetious here, but that's somebody that obviously has a medical condition. So we wouldn't spray those kind of folks. So you learn who you can use it on as far as medically, but you also go over the use of force continuum, which is something, if you guys have been training with me for any amount of time, I'm always talking about the use of force continuum. That use of force continuum, if you follow it, will keep you out of trouble. If you don't follow it, you will be in trouble. That is not just for firearms. That is for what is known as intermediate weapons as well. So intermediate weapon would be pepper spray as well as a baton, a collapsible baton or a coup baton or something like that. You've got to know where this stuff falls in the use of force continuum, because that lets you know when you can use it, what level of force that's being used against you that will allow you to use this in response, okay? So that's huge. The other thing about going through the certification process, guys, is if you deploy this, if you spray somebody with this, chances are you're going to get sued, okay? Now, with any use of force, the police are going to look at it first. If they don't see any problem with it, it'll probably stop there. If it's a situation where it's not clear cut, or it's for whatever reason they decide they don't really want to make a determination on it, they're going to write it up and send it to the prosecutor. As long as you follow the use of force continuum, even if it were to go to the prosecutor, as long as you follow the use of force, the rules for using force, the prosecutor is probably going to say, you know what, I don't have an issue with this. But what is inevitable, you're going to get sued by the family, of course, right? That's just how it goes. Everybody's trying to get down. All right. So when you've gone through the certification process, you're going to learn what's in this. You're going to learn who you can use it on, who you can't. You're going to learn when you can use it and when you can't. The other thing about going through the certification process is you are going to get exposed. Okay, you're going to get exposed, so that serves two very important reasons. One is you do not want your first time getting exposed to I want to keep wanting to say chemical agents because that's what we used in the prison. You don't want your first time getting exposed to this in the middle of a fight when you're trying to subdue somebody or you're trying to clear an area out. Because I promise you, you're not going to handle it like you think you will. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a very, very, very small percentage of people out there that this doesn't affect. It's very small, but they are out there. You might be one of them. If you are, kudos to you, and you suck, because I'm jealous, because I'm still very sensitive to this after all the times I've been exposed to it. But if you're a normal person, you don't want the first time you get exposed to this when you're in the middle of a fight. Because if you get contaminated with it and you don't know how to counteract it and how to deal with it, you're going to lose the fight. You might get knocked out. If you have a firearm, you're probably going to lose that, which could lead into a whole bunch of other bad things. This is making sense, guys? You don't want an irritant that is going to cause issues with all of the mucous membranes in your face to be the reason why you get knocked out cold, or worse. Okay, so I highly recommend that you get exposed to this one time, and it's all it's going to take. Now, the way that we did it in the department and the way that I'm going to do it in my class is you're going to get exposed, and then you're going to have some tasks that you have to do. And the purpose of this is to get you to see that you will be able to work through this as long as you calm down and breathe. Yes, it's going to burn, it's going to suck, but you can survive it. I know, okay? The second reason for that is now you can say, I've been exposed, I'm not blind, I'm not on workers' comp, I'm not dead. So that when you get sued and you're sitting in that courthouse and you got somebody suing you who's trying to get paid, claiming that they can no longer work or they have asthma or whatever their issue is, you can say, hey man, I got contaminated as well. Here's my certificate. See, I got contaminated. How powerful is that? Somebody's going to try to come after you for using this, and they're going to claim everything in the book, and here you are sitting there saying, yeah, it does suck. I got sprayed with it too, right? So that serves those two purposes. Because the things you got to think about is the stream on this is 8 to 10 feet. And if you are spraying downwind, it's going to blow back on you. You know, you might get the person, but if the wind is coming back this way, you're going to get contaminated. So unless you're one of those very few people that, like I said, it doesn't affect, you can expect to suffer the same initial side effects. You're going to be blinking your eyes, closing your eyes, nose is going to be running. You're going to feel like you can't breathe, and you have to be able to work through that. So if you spray somebody, you're trying to handcuff them, and you spray them and you get a backblast from it, you still got to put that person in cuffs. Because if not, it's game over. Especially if you're carrying a firearm. You've got to maintain control of that firearm. Okay? So I hope this makes sense to you guys. I am going to be putting on a class here. I'm looking at, I'm going to try to squeeze one in December, next month. If not, then it'll be in January. It'll be late January. Let me know your thoughts, guys. What are your thoughts on pepper spray? And if you've carried it and if you've used it before, please drop your comments below. Those of you who are carrying it and who have not been trained on it, you don't, and let me specify, there is no, in Michigan, you don't need a license to carry this. You don't need a certificate. You can just go to the store and buy it because it's probably what you already did, right? So I want you to understand that I'm not trying to talk you into doing something that you don't have to do, but you should do for all the reasons that I just stated. But if you are carrying this and you haven't been through training, let me know if you've deployed it, right? Or if you're carrying it and you haven't deployed it, did this video change your mind on that? Okay. And again, I don't want to sugarcoat it. This sucks. This sucks getting exposed to it. It sucks. But I'd rather it suck and get exposed to it in a controlled environment where I know I'm safe and I know nobody wants to hurt me, versus deploying it in a situation where I'm surrounded by a bunch of people who I don't know who they are and I don't know what their intentions are. So guys, if you like this video, make sure you like it and save it. And please share with anybody you know. If you're not carrying pepper spray, but you have a buddy who's a cop, well, I guess I can't say cops because they do. Well, let me know. My law enforcement guys, are you guys still getting exposed to this? Let me know, because I've been out of the game for a minute. I don't know if you guys are getting exposed or not. Now, when I was at the Renaissance Center, we carried pepper spray and we went through the training. But the training consisted of all the stuff I just told you about. But what they considered exposure was they put a little bit on a Q-tip and they put it under both your eyes, right low here. So you could get a little bit of it in the eyes. You could kind of get the feel of it. But it wasn't a full-on round robin like I went through when I went through ERT school. So anyways, guys, in the meantime, keep your head on a swivel. Stay safe out there, and we'll talk real soon. Peace.